So the next morning, everything's dried up, I'm sure. So, and at first glance, touching the tape, it feels like these top corners are good. Um, a little bit of a lip here, but it's from the bottom, so you won't really see it. Grabbing at this stuff, and nothing really moves. Nothing seems loose. So, go ahead and pull the spacers down, pull our tape down, just kind of get a look at her and see if everything worked out okay. So another thing I noticed sitting here, with this valve is that, look at the angle, right? So if something did dribble down in, it's certainly running off this way. You wouldn't want to put this in the other direction, or any water that does manage to hit it's going to run into the wall. So just little things like that sometimes when you read directions, you wonder who the hell needs that, right? Like, do not eat, right? Well, we almost put that in backwards. We might as well eat the silk packets too. Well, for the most part, things look good. Looks like this sagged down a little tiny bit, so that grout line's not going to be perfect. This corner separated by a significant amount. It must have happened as I taped it, I guess, or it slid while it was drying. So I guess, yeah, because what's going to happen now is when I go and grout this up, that's going to get grout in it, and it's going to be white, and it's going to be obviously wrong. So I think maybe I can find a grout that's close to this color, right? Not so that we can use the grout, but so we can use their matching caulk. Because I don't care if it's $20 for a whole tube of caulk, so I can get something that matches that color and get it in there. And it may be that we could even use just like black RTV. Maybe that's dark enough, it'll go in there and hide it. But we need something in that gap so it doesn't get filled in with not thin set, with grout. So, yeah, right. It's not the end of the world, but like I said, after using this stuff, for the cost, I wouldn't use it again. I just wouldn't. I'd either use a bullnose or I'd miter the tiles. So, I mean, these are glass, so we're not going to necessarily miter these, and they don't sell a bullnose, so we're kind of trapped. But yeah, this stuff is a big pain in the dick. Other thing I was thinking about was like trying to figure out a way to get the whole thing glued together, but there's no leg on the other corner, so you just be doing the surfaces, and I think it would just pop right back apart. So yeah, when we do the second niche, we'll have to be pretty diligent about it. And I think what we'll do with the second one is we won't put the tile over it, right? We'll get the interior of the niche done. We'll get, start doing this wall, something to waste tile, to use up tile before we deal with it. So we can put the frame in place and get it thin setted down before we put tile over it. That way we're not pushing on it and disturbing it after it's in place. So, yep, it is what it is. Not the end of the world, but to me it is. We got a little bit of breathing room. I had found glass locally for the shelves, but that was for the pre-made niche, right? When I thought we'd be able to go wider, because I didn't think about that stud placement. So that won't be until next week, which means we can calm down a little bit and just cut tile. There's a little inspection hole. Another reason, what was the last time? 8 billion. So reason 9 billion to have a laser level. We can tell, our cut's not perfect, and we're within 1/8 of an inch. A tile, yeah, it's going to be fine. But we don't have to try to angle this or eyeball it. We can just shove a tape measure in there and see that, oh yeah, we're about 9 inches from the top to the top. So we'll transfer that here, right? There's our 9 inch. So that's as low as we can go with the bottom. So a 1/2 inch up from there would, anyway, we'll mark it out and then we'll measure up tile. Okay, so we must have mathed right. So there was our minimum bottom. And it was actually, 10 inches gets us 5 more tiles plus their spacer. And then I came down 1/2 inch to 9.5. So that'll be the bottom, right? And I'll put that top lip right at our grout line, just like it did below. There's our stud just hanging out. Yeah, and we're cut up. So we can decide where to put the shelves when they get here. And one thing I did do this time is I left a substantial amount of material on this side. So what I found before is any little spots, where I was an 1/8 of an inch off, trying to shave that down just made for a really rough edge, and it was difficult to cut. So the idea this time being now I can really get my head in there and watch and go slow to get that edge nice and tight without it being difficult to work with. So up and down, our distance should be correct, right? So we can test that. Looks like we're probably an 1/8 of an inch off. So I had measured it, I thought it was 28 7/8, and then from here to there was 29. I was like, oh, it's just bowed some, but it looks like we're not going to want to force feed that too much. So we know the bottom's correct. We'll shave another 1/8 off the top and make sure it fits well. Same as before, it's in place. Everything looks pretty good. I don't have any horrible bowing in the edges or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and trim these. Going to be a little more, a little less perfectionist with this edge this time. I don't want it to be perfectly flush, because what happened is there were little bumps that stuck up foam that I overlooked. So I'd rather have it back into the wall, even if it's a 1/16 of an inch, and then when we go over it, it'll be flatter. I think it'll be easier to install the edging like that. So get this out, we'll cut it, get it in place with some Curdy Fix. Still got a half hour before I need to leave to work. I'm not freaking out about the time. There's plenty of time to get this in, plenty of time to measure and think about what we're going to cut for this wall. So there's the niche in place, a bunch of Curdy Fix in any of the voids, just to make sure it's sealed up. And same thing as below. I'm not going to use the banding. It was just a pain in the butt, and it kept popping up, and the corner was all weird, and there were air pockets. And I don't know. I think if I had the right size spacing between the studs, and could use one of their pre-made ones where you're just putting the bandings flat where the niche intersects, you'd have a big wide flange as part of the niche, and then you just put a band down and be done. That would be nice, but these aren't a standard size. They're our size. So this will be fine. It's probably 100% waterproof just with the Curdy Fix on it. So once we get a layer of Ardex over all these seams as well, I'm confident that nothing bad's going to happen to it. And then actually, I think that's the last thing that we have to use Ardex on. So, there's a decent amount of this stuff left. I don't know if there's anything else that I'd want to waterproof with it. Maybe if the car leaks too much, we'll just smear it all over the inside. But that'll be a while before we're testing that. Really need to get the shower done before I do much serious car work. So it's unfortunate, but we'll still get the car done before winter, I'm sure. Okay, been a little lazy the last few days, which is fine. Sometimes you just need to step back and take a breather. I got more buckets and I got more chip brushes. And really this will be the last bit of Ardex, right? So we're going to Ardex this the same as we did the lower one, so I don't end up with too much buildup. Maybe I'll try to wash this up a little bit, just so it's a little nicer to look at. Who cares? We'll wash it all up at the end. But yeah, so the glass is supposed to show up on Monday for the shelves, right? So we'll do shelf, depending on where she wants it. We still need to go over that this weekend. But if I can put the Ardex on today before work, and then this weekend get tile in the back, right on the back of this, do tile up to one row before like we did on that one, and have the rest of it all pre-cut, I'll be pretty happy. That's why I got so many buckets, because they're going to just be doing a ton of small batches. I finally got around to getting these screws in, so that'll help. Pushed through two that had poked out a little bit. They just fell down on the wall, but that's okay. And then today, Dad's coming over to help out, which I think is a good idea. At first I didn't want to, because I was like, when stuff happens, like this corner sticks out, right? And it's getting harder to see every time I come in, but I know it's there, and it bothers me. So I didn't want to have him like do a bunch of wall for me and help out, and then have something be crooked and me, basically I wanted the whole thing to suck and have it all be my fault. That's kind of the way I was looking at it, and I was like, no, Dude, I was like, you're just worrying too much again. So it's going to be way better for him to come help. He's retired. He doesn't have anything else to do except ride his bike hundreds of miles a day like a psychopath. So got some screws in here to cinch this back down like it should. Gonna knock these high spots down and get drywall mud up so we can get some paint on that before we put the trim in. I think to make sure that the trim looks good, I'm going to go ahead and try to get the curb on. Originally, I wanted to do the curb last so that I could pre-drill holes in the tile for the glass. But I think that we can still do that on this side pretty easily. But it's just going to be better to wait. Let's just get it in. Drill the holes when I go to actually put the glass in so I know they're right. You hate to have more than one hole, So, yeah, we'll just get those up and we'll make sure to put a collar on the bit so that it can't go too far and puncture our waterproofing. So, yeah, that's where we'll be at. So, Dad's over. We got thin set mixed up. We got some pieces pre-cut for the curb. So we're going to do the inside and outside. Make sure they're straight, flush at the top. And we'll cut trim so that we know our top pieces are the same size, and then we'll cut those and put them in as well. Okay, the sides, each side of the curb is on. Now we're mitering our trim pieces, and once those are kind of dry fit, we'll know how wide to cut the top tiles. Okay, well, we have our trim pieces cut, mitered, ready to go. Dad's down there cutting the tiles for the top part. I think that's probably not enough thin set, but we'll find out. We'll see how far it gets. It's going to be really close. And then here, we got a couple things in the mail. So we have 2 tubes of clear and then a tube of Avalanche. There we go. So this matches the grout, and it's 100% silicone. It's not sanded. So the clear stuff will be for putting the glass in place. The matching stuff will be for any of the intersections that need expansion. And we also got our glass in for her niche. So it has the ground edge on one side with the angles, looks really nice. It has just the regular edge, and these are tempered glass. So you got, oh, I don't want to step on that with these shoes. So they'll fit nice and tight, right? Yeah. So with the tile in place, they should go quite nicely. Held up by tile on each side, and then we should be able to leave a little bit of a gap in the backs so they're easier to clean. And then this size and this thickness of tempered glass, with this support span left and right, the manufacturer says they're good for 75 pounds. So should be able to slam down shampoo bottles, whatever, with pretty good force without worrying about breaking these. Super happy with them. And then the first one I popped up was $42. It's like, holy cow, like that's expensive, right, for the size that you want. But the more you buy, the cheaper they get, kind of to a point. So when I added a second one, it was only $62 total. They only added $20 to the order. So not too bad. A little more expensive than buying stuff that's pre-made at the store, but pre-made at the store, they didn't have it in the size that we needed. So these will work. Actually, they'll work great. I really like how they turned out. And then that ground edge on the front, that's going to match this top really, really well. Okay, curb's in. We're not going to touch it because it looks decent. But here you can kind of see the color of the wall and trim and other shit compared to this. But I like this trim a lot better than the other stuff. Maybe it's just because it's all horizontal, so it doesn't slide around and get this goofy. But that one, where we're making a frame, we have everything on the outside. With this being on the inside, it all just kind of pinches together and lines up right. So not as bad, but it'll work. Yeah, everything's cured up. Looks pretty good. Kind of a gap there, but I think that's okay. It'll just look like a grout line. More importantly, this top miter looks really good. That outside corner. And then we got Dad's over again helping cut stuff while I do other things. So we're going to go ahead and get 15 pairs of short long for this side. And we'll use the laser to keep them in line as we go. But just having those done will cut down on some time. And then I think we'll
do the inside of the niche next, get those pre-cut. Okay, so here's results from last time Dad was over, and he's over now. So cutting these, right, these side pieces. What we need to do next, once we mix up thin set, is we'll get these in place. I think we'll go up 2 rows. 1 row is a little shallow, right? You can't get in there. But if we do 2 rows right there, boom, that'll be good. And let me get her shampoo bottle, see how that fits. Okay, so if we do 2 rows, we have glass here, essentially. And then do like maybe there, maybe a little smaller for shorter stuff, because that'll give, if we're sitting like that, that's plenty of room to hand pump this while it's on the shelf, and I don't think it'll break, especially if it's over near the edge where it's supported. So yeah, we'll go 2, let me get a marker just so I kind of know. Okay, so there's our marks. Shelf, shelf. So we remember which rows we want to put them on. I guess I should also see if her smaller stuff's even going to fit up there, or if it would be just a dumb idea. Yeah, she has plenty of smaller things that'll fit up there. More importantly, oh, it's not going to fit once there's tile on top. Oh, maybe the one will slide right up in there and keep me from getting shampoo in the top when I have a shower beer. Yeah, we'll find out. Not a priority. I think last piece of video I have, the valve assembly wasn't even covered. So this is the 3rd day my dad was able to come over and help out, and it makes the mornings a lot better. Like I wouldn't be able to get all this progress done without it. It just wouldn't happen. So yeah, we're about 45 minutes from work, so plenty of time to eat lunch and shower and all the good stuff. Then I'm doing math, and I think, so I ordered 3.5 square feet more tile than I needed. And I'm quickly realizing that because of the waste from cuts and the niches, like little bits like that, they nickel and dime your tile supply to death pretty quickly. So I think what's happening now is we're not going to have enough, and we had to order this. So I think the right answer here is I need to get 2 more boxes ordered. It's an extra 8 square feet. I think that'll be enough. And since there's no guarantee that they're going to be from the same batch or lot or whatever you want to call it. I want to get those as soon as possible. So when I do this wall, I can shuffle them in with it, just in case they are a little bit off on the color. They'll be spread out and it'll look natural instead of having it be one batch and then another at the top and have it look goofy. So yeah, I'll get those ordered up, and hopefully it doesn't take too long to get in. I think last time it was over a week. Like we sat on them for a while. So do some research, see how quick we can get them, and then press on.